people should be able to control currencies because governments have systematically proven throughout time that they cannot manage it. The tokenization of everything is just really starting to roll out.
So good to have an Aussie crypto person and no less the crypto king himself on the pod.
Fred Shibesta is the co-founder of Finder.com.au, a billion-dollar company with an estimated personal net worth of over $300 million.
Known as the Crypto King, he owns Sydney's iconic crypto castle and shares why crypto represents the paradigm shift humanity needs.
This country needs a reset. It will literally spiral down upon itself. You can't keep printing money. You can't keep relying on digging stuff out of the ground. It's either going to happen by the people or someone else will come in and take it over.
Do you want to talk about your win with ASIC?
3 federal judges unanimously again agreed that ASIC was wrong and agreed with us.
Why should
For the last good, I'd say 15 years, we used to use a lot of paper, plastic, and we still do to some extent, but slowly over time, everything's become just digitized numbers that are sitting in a ledger. And I think the leap from, 1971, the disconnection from the gold standard has just completely busted up and inflated currencies. Seigniorage is rife and out of control. And I think those two ideas are kind of fundamental. And I think the last one is that the people should be able to control currencies because governments have systematically proven throughout time that they cannot manage it. And if you want, out of interest, anyone who's listening, go to Wikipedia and Google the number of failed currencies that exist throughout human history. It is an exorbitant list. You can't use the Roman denario anymore, unfortunately. And that's because at the end of the Roman Empire, most of the coins was just lead instead of gold, which has been stolen by the government throughout time. So I think the combination of those 3 things and the other things that I love to combine is, it's a combination of marketing, finance, and technology. 3 things that I love combined together in one single thing. And I think this creates a huge opportunity for a new financial system. And I say new financial system, and I mean that in every sense of it. A lot of people don't like that. Like when I say that, they get really whatever. Like I keep saying it because it's happening, right? The tokenization of everything is just really starting to roll out. US is ramping up. And you watch it'll roll out around the world. And I think that moment in time, right, there is a Cambrian explosion already of, I would call it primitives that exist now. There are chains, there are decentralized applications, stable coins, real world assets, things which are the fundamental primitives. But the true change in moment in time in cryptocurrency, what will happen is when we go from all the money being in the infrastructure and all the money instead transferring now to the applications. And we saw that in the internet, right? The internet, Cisco was like the number one hottest stock. The ones providing the internet, they were the super, super sexy ones. And now you look at it, all the value has gone now to the people who control the applications that deal with the customers. And that hasn't happened in crypto yet. It hasn't happened. The chains are worth more. You look at the top coins, it looks like the old stock market where Cisco was right up there, and obviously that changed. But that moment in time is why I want so many Australian entrepreneurs and obviously entrepreneurs around the world that are listening as well to participate, and some of the greatest engineers to come and build businesses, because it's an opportunity is right now. Like it is right now. You can, with 5 to 6 people, or even 3 to 4 really good people, bond together and build something that millions of people, tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people will use all around the world. It is not located in any particular jurisdiction. This will be a global currency. It'll be a global financial system, and it'll be built by the people for the first time. Just like the internet's not controlled by anyone. That is the exact opportunity, and that is a huge change, and I would call it a paradigm shift in how humans do finance market. So digitally through code and very difficult mathematical problems, they cryptographically protect that scarcity is what you're investing in, and that you're basically protected by maths in a large degree. So if I was to boil that down, that's something I think fundamentally that humans have been searching throughout time. Pieces of real estate do that to some extent, but the problem is a government can come and take your real estate. Pieces of jewelry do appreciate. Again, someone can steal it from you. Stamps and art throughout time. My grandfather took a whole bunch of stamps and traveled out of, a Russian-controlled post-Nazi Austria and traveled to Australia and brought his wealth through stamps. And that used to be a currency, right? He has some interesting pictures on some of his stamps. Let's put it that way. Art. There's only certain scarce forms of that. Pokemon cards, originals, yes. We've seen that. There are things, certain cars, but you're getting very fragile, right? That's not as immutable as you go down the list. I think that, another thing that we've seen, there are transient things, right, that are valuable, then they're not valuable. And it's what you see in crypto. I think what you're talking to is a lot of people have this experience where they see these things that, that could be really valuable, and everyone's really interested, and then everyone leaves. And, you go back in time and to study that would be looking at sort of tulip mania. I'm sure you can put some link in the show notes around this. The hype of the .com boom, where it got super, super hot. I think AI stocks are hitting that level where some of these numbers are now hitting, they're a bit blown over, if that makes sense. And I think it happens, a natural cycle, right, of exuberance, and then it comes back down. And I think Bitcoin saw that, but the problem is with Bitcoin, people are saying, it's a bubble at $1, it's a bubble at 10, it's a bubble at $100, it's a bubble at 1,000, it's a bubble at 10,000, it's a bubble at 100,000. Like, when are you going to stop? Like, when are you going to go, okay, this is not, and I think stablecoin is a one-to-one representation of a fiat currency. So if you want to move, if I want to send Adam $100 today in value, I can send him a stablecoin over a blockchain, and I can choose a range of different blockchains, and I can send it from my wallet to his, and I don't need to call a bank. I don't need to call a third party. I don't need to speak to anyone. I can just send that any time of day. And that use case of transferring money, initially for a lot of people who are in countries where transferring money just happens. In Australia, the rails are fine. India, the rails are great. America, it can be a bit bumpy, but eventually the FedWire system does work. And Visa and MasterCard fill a lot of gaps. Europe works, UK works, right, to some extent. But there are many countries where, for example, I have a animator. This is just a real life example. And, he's in Lithuania, right? And I'm like, okay, you've got a Lithuanian bank, you've done this work, we need to send you 600 euros. Okay, cool. The amount of work for my team to go and load up a Lithuanian bank account, to go and figure out all the Swift details and make sure it doesn't mess up, and some intermediary is quite arduous, let's put it that way, to get it exactly right. And instead, he just gave us a Bitcoin address. We sent the funds directly to him instantaneously. And all of those costs and all of that administration internally for my team, for his team, is removed. And he can just take that, sell that, and transfer it to his bank account. It can go to his accountants. It is an incredibly empowering financial tool for companies, individuals who need to receive money. Remittance business around the world is obviously, I don't need to go into how big that business is, but it's a huge business, right? And I think that is What's really challenging probably is the Bitcoin white paper was talking about a peer-to-peer payment system to some extent, and I do think people pay each other in Bitcoin as well to remove doubt. I do think that does happen. There are hardcore believers in that sense.